Hello. In this video we want to talk about some parts of the Quran and the Hadith and how it was used by the Syrian media in the 1970s, 80s and 90s when Haphez Assad took over the Ba'ath Party. And of course what the Quran and the Hadith reveals is anti-racist, anti-Semitism, anti-West, anti-America, anti-Northern Europe. Right. And it says, you will find that the most implacable of men in their enmity to the faithful are the Jews. Surah 5, 82. The Jews say, God's hand is chained, may their own hands be chained, may they be cursed for what they say. 564. They will not cease to fight you until they force you to renounce your faith. 2:17. They will not cease to fight against you until they force you to renounce your faith. 2:17. The Jews are those who killed the prophets of God. 2:91. And incur his wrath. And now we go on to the Hadith, and it says that the Jews are brothers of apes and pigs. Right, and this statement was used by Mahmoud Abbas, the leader of Fatah, whom some people claim that Mahmoud Abbas, Abu Mazdan, is a mild politician or something like that. Of course, that's not true. And the other person who used that phrase was Morsi of the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt. And well, thank God he was put in prison in hot irons. Right. And then the Hadith goes on to say the Jews came to the Prophet of blessed memory and said to him, "Death instead of peace upon you." The Prophet of blessed memory answered, saying, "Death upon you." And Aisha, the Prophet's wife, said, "Poison up on you, brothers of apes and pigs, the curse of Allah and this wrath upon you." So this is the kind of... Right, so that's the sort of statement that Morsi used, the leader of the Egyptian Brotherhood, the Muslim Brotherhood of Egypt. He used that phrase, apes and pigs. And of course now he's in a nice little, cozy little prison cell, along with his Muslim friends. And the other person who used that sort of phrase was Mahmoud Abbas, Abu Mazdan, the leader of Fatah, who some people believe that this person is a mild politician. Really, is that so? So why does he not accept the Holocaust? Why is he a Holocaust denier? Why does he murder people? Why does he rob people of money? That's Mahmoud Abbas for you. And people who are naive enough to believe that he's a mild politician or someone he can talk to. Anyway, so back to Syria. Now Haphez Assad, he took over, the first coup d'etat took place in 1966. The second one took place in November 1970 when Haphez took over. And the first thing he tried to do was to take over Jordan, and he got his ass kicked. Now 3 years later, they did this sort of socialist union along with Anwar Sadat of Egypt, the new dictator of Egypt, and they tried to defeat Israel, and they got their asses kicked once more. Well, ever since, the Syrians have been claiming that they want the Golan Heights. Of course, they've got nothing to do with the Golan Heights, and actually the Arabs have nothing to do with Syria also, because Syria belongs to the ancient Syrians, the Arameans, the Aramean tribes. That's right. And in 1919, of course, and Haphez Assad has butchered 50,000 people, of whom 20,000 alone were murdered in Hama in 1982, when he literally bombed the city. He turned it into rubble. And his son, being faithful to his father's autocratic regime, killed 250,000 people. And during that 3-year civil war, he's killed some of the good guys and some of the bad guys. The bad guys include the Al-Nusra, who are nothing but Al-Qaeda, of course, and the ISIS. Now, the ISIS are similar to al-Nusra, but still they're not fighting together. They are in opposition for some obscure reason, which shows how stupid they are. That's right. Right, now, here are some examples of how the Syrians, during the reign of Haphez, viewed Arabness or Arab nationalism. Now, they believe that Sadat's Egypt is condemned because of the 1977 Separate Peace Initiative and the signing of a separate peace treaty with Israel at Camp David, thus breaching the Arab ranks and diminishing the united Arab bargaining power. In the second stage, the Egyptian regime is accused of attempting to transform Camp David into an Arab cause by seeking to persuade other Arab states to enter into separate agreements with Israel. Jordan is vilified due to King Hussein's secret contacts and subsequent overt relations with Israel. Iraq is accused throughout the war it waged against Iran 1980-1988 of diminishing Arab might in a pointless war. The military effort expanded should have directed against the true enemy, the common foe, Israel. Worse still, during this war, Iraq tried to persuade other Arab states to join its battle against Iran. Arabization of the war. But these efforts failed because of Syrian opposition. Since August 1990, the Syrian press has rebuked Iraq for its occupation of Kuwait and accused it of triggering the ensuing Gulf War, which included Arabs to take up arms against each other whilst allowing foreigners, i.e. the West, to gain a foothold and intervene in conflicts between Arab sister states. Saudi Arabia and the Gulf Emirates are rebuked because of their reactionary opposition to the Ba'ath revolution in modern Arab society. Of course, these people are still living in the Middle Ages. The PLO, which was chastened for its attempts to reach separate peace agreements with Israel, whilst abandoning the United Arab Line, of course. It's a well-known fact that Haphez Assad continuously tried to murder Yasser Arafat because he knew what Yasser Arafat was. And Bashar al-Assad has also murdered 2,000 Palestinians. Of course, no one talks about this. It's all about Israel, isn't it? And the Minister of Defense, Talat, he also hated Yasser Arafat. Everyone hated Yasser Arafat, including the pseudo-Palestinians themselves. Well, the only guys who loved Yasser Arafat were the Bolsheviks, of course, the darling of the Bolshevik media, of course. Now again, another person who was negative in this Arabness are the Christian Phalangists of Lebanon, because of their efforts to affiliate events in Lebanon with Israeli interests. And of course, last but not least, the Muslim Brotherhood, due to its efforts to undermine political stability and civil order in Syria and other Arab states. Prominent personalities rebuked in the Syrian press, nationalist Syrian press, for betraying the Arabs are al-Sadat, of course, because of Camp David. Well, he tried to defeat Israel in 1973, but it didn't work. So he tried the other way. Well, he got Sinai back. Yasser Arafat, piece of garbage, the darling of the Bolshevik media, of course. The Syrians knew what his true face was. Hafez knew it. Bashar al-Assad knew it. Saddam Hussein, of course, the president of Iraq, of course, who murdered his own people. And of course, the Jamals, the leader of the Christian Phalangists in Lebanon, of course, because they were pro-Israel, that's why. They were not Hezbollah, they were not Iran. So that's why they didn't want them. Right. Now, like we said, Iran has created Hezbollah in the 1980s. It's a proxy of Iran, just like Hamas is a proxy of Iran. Everyone knows that, of course. And when the Ayatollah took over in 1979, Haphez Assad became best pals with the Ayatollah, the first Ayatollah. Now Iran's role in Lebanon in 1976 until the 1990 we have the 15 years of the civil war in Lebanon, which caused the death of some 500,000 people and thousands of people being right now. Iran's role in Lebanon is not reported in the Syrian press for the following reasons. The involvement of a non-Arab party to an inter-Arab dispute in Lebanon does not honor the Arab parties involved, does it? Now, the Syrian media wanted to represent the fight against Israel in Lebanon as an authentic Lebanese struggle conducted with no interference from outside. Of course, that's not true, because all Haphez wanted was the Bekaa Valley and the narcotics there. Drugs. Everyone knows that. Now, Assad was aware that the Iranians were the thorn in the flesh of the Lebanese, with the exception of Hezbollah, and since they had gone into Lebanon with his permission and were stationed in the Bekaa Valley, an area under his control, the very mention of them would be enough to kindle the anger of the majority of the Lebanese against him. And of course that took place later on when the son Bashar Assad murdered Rafiq Hariri. Well, everyone remembers what happened with Rafiq Hariri, and 22 innocent people were murdered in the streets of Lebanon, Beirut. The public acknowledgement of Iranian involvement in Lebanon would serve as a legitimate excuse for external forces, foremost among them Israel, to interfere as well. Now, sadly, Israel withdrew from southern Lebanon in 2000. That was a big mistake, wasn't it? And by downgrading the role of Iran in Lebanon, Assad could be presented as the main player, perhaps even the only player who directs events in that country, thereby enhancing his image as leader and undisputed authority there. Now, wasn't it the Syrians who were fighting with the Syrians in the Christian Lebanese? Weren't they the ones who were trying to murder Michael Aoun in 1989, 1990? Of course. But of course, the Bolshevik media here in Greece are trying to present Bashar al-Assad as the protector of the Syrians. Then why did he murder all these Christians in 2004-5, including one of the Gemels, during the Sidon Revolution, of course? So, in the 3-year civil war, Assad has lost the son, has lost most of his army. Many of the Hezbollah fighters have been killed in Syria. There have been clashes in Lebanon, within Lebanon itself. Many Iranians have been killed, and well, al-Nusra is still there. The Kurds are still there. They basically control most of northern Syria. And now there's ISIS. Now, with America involved, America attacking ISIS, I don't think ISIS will last for long, will it? And, well, of course, Putin, the little Bolshevik, claimed that he was going to fight ISIS. But, of course, he's busy doing other things, stealing people's money and all that. So, of course, the Anglo-Saxons are doing the dirty job for him. And, of course, in the Bolshevik media, America is viewed as the enemy, and the Bolshevik Putin, who pretends to be a Christian, is the good guy, of course. So no one knows what's going to happen in the future, but the certain thing is that it was all a mistake of the British and the French, who created these states that did not exist before, and they combined all these tribes and all these sub-tribes together and all these ethnic groups together, and it was bound to burst out, just like it happened in Lebanon in the 1980s. And what's going to happen is that Syria is definitely going to be broken up into 4 or 5 separate states. And I hope that Assad, and I hope that al-Nusra, and I hope that ISIS are defeated, and what remains of Syria becomes a puppet of the West, of America, of the good America, of the West, England, of course. And the Greeks here, must not listen to what the Bolsheviks are saying. We must back America, our friends in the West. We must back America. Of course, and let us hope that soon the Republicans will come to power in America. They will do a decent job out of Syria, the Republicans. The Democrats, right, so the Democrats, wherever they went, they blew it up. And they made enemies of their best friends. For example, they sold out Georgia, they sold out the Ukraine. The Poles are worried whether they're going to sell them, just like they did with their other friends. Most of the Greeks hate America. Well, they have no reason to do so, because America has backed Greece. But it's all this Bolshevik propaganda. Assad. Is Assad supposed to be the good guy? Right. Why? Just because he provided a port for them at Arwat, Tel Arwat? Arwat is supposed to be... was that a good choice? Giving a seaport to the Bolsheviks, Putin?